Good morning, YouTube. Home Theater Joe here, and as usual, I hope y'all are happy, healthy, and doing well. We have a little bit of technical jargon to get into, which I'll get to in just a minute. First off, we got a new toy. There it is, right back there. A little preview for you. Going to make a video about that today. Hopefully that'll be up. Man, it's a great little family toy here for a perfect time of year. So I'm really excited to show you guys what that is, reveal it, do a cool little video about that. But let's get into the weeds right now. Let's not get into weeds, let's get into the technical jargon a little bit. So I recently did a video about pixel refresher, and there has been some pushback. And I can appreciate that. I always appreciate opposing perspectives, opinions. So, while I had looked into this literature before, I dove right back into it. And what a few people are saying in the comment section, AVS forums and whatnot, is that the pixel refresher can degrade image over time. And I'm not sure prior C8. I don't know. I don't even know if that was on the displays prior to the C8, because all I have experience with is the C8 and beyond. So I went to LG's website and read everything I could about the pixel refresher. Now, I'm not saying that the people in the community are wrong. I believe that this literature probably was there. And I don't know, maybe some calibrators or professionals in the AVS forums thought it would be I don't know, good idea to do that or whatever, put that out there. One thing I know for certain is through combing through all of LG's literature, I can find no text anywhere that says running the pixel refresher manually will degrade your screen over time or your image over time. As a matter of fact, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because if it was there and it did that, I don't believe they would make it available to the user, the consumer themselves. But I could be wrong, per usual, so what I would like is some text or, I don't know. Yeah, I want to see it in writing, honestly, from LG, official website, or, I downloaded my C10 manual as well. Nowhere in the manual for this C10, anywhere, does it say anything about manual pixel refresher degrading image over time. So let's get into the numbers real quick. My 55 C8 was sold, I don't know, 30 days ago, 45 days ago, something like that. Maybe a little longer. That was a C8, 55 inch, and it had over 10,000 hours on that panel. How many times did I run the manual pixel refresher, I wonder? Well, I have no clue. I can tell you, it was a lot. Ran it all the time. Now, because that was the C8, I never took any measurements, couldn't calibrate that display. However, I do have the C10. Let me take one step back, then I'll take two steps forward. The C8, over 10,000 hours, pixel refresher manual run dozens, if not triple digit times. A lot, all right? Never any issue. But to be fair, never ran measurements. Let's move again forward to the C10. As of lately, I feel like the uniformity on the C1077, that's not as good as it was. It's a little off. Of course, the LG OLEDs, all of my panels, have been, terrible uniformity right on the box. I mean, put it on whatever slides you want. The uniformity is not great. However, when you're watching content, doesn't matter. So, okay, uniformity on a 100% white, or I don't know, like even a green patch, you may be able to see some uniformity issues, especially up in the corners of the display. It tends to look a little lighter than in the middle of the display. Again, watching content, this isn't a problem. The C10 is now over 4,000 hours, and I haven't checked it recently, but I would bet it's creeping up on 5,000. Maybe it's at 4,600, 4,700 hours, something like that. That's just a guess. I have run lots of measurements on the C10 as well as the C1, and here's what I can tell you. The C10 as it stands now is at a delta error of right around 3 at 109% white. I'm stuck right here for now, trying to get that straight before I move on to the rest of the calibrations. What I can also say is that the color, detail, however you want to call it, color management system, whatever, it's 16, almost 17 delta error points off. So basically, my C10 and my C1 displays are in uncalibrated states. And they are back to factory settings because both of them, I believe the C1 is around 15 delta error. But the C10 is closer to 17. It's a 16 point something. So the color's off terribly. Why do I say that? Because I think that's why I'm noticing the uniformity on still or full screen images now as opposed to when it was calibrated with the Kalman software, which again, up until recently, I have brought these displays right back to their uncalibrated state, which, funny enough, I could never do that with Kalman. All I could do was reset the picture mode and hope it would go back to factory values. I can be certain now through the Color Space program software that my LGs, no matter how many times I reset the DDC or did whatever, I just don't feel like it ever went back to factory settings. Meaning it never reached 16 or 15 delta error. Again, I haven't seen that in quite some time, which again, that's good on Color Space because now the display is off. I can notice it, and the uniformity looks a little different as well. But that's to be expected because now, for the first time, the displays are right back to their raw factory mode. Just how they came out to the factory. So anyway, look, I'm getting into the weeds a lot here. But the important message for me and why I'm saying all this is because I cannot find in the literature where it degrades your image. The C8 with over 10,000 hours, to my eye, the image had not degraded at all. As a matter of fact, the gentleman that bought it took one look at that display, walked in and was like, oh yeah, He was very impressed. And again, I bet you I ran the manual pixel refresher on that guy, man, I don't know, probably more than 100 times. So here's another differentiation we have here. People are talking about the 2,000 hour pixel refresh as opposed to the after every 4 hours of use. And here's what I can get from the LG literature, y'all. I don't believe that pixel refresher they run at the end of 4 hours of use is a real deal at all. The real deal pixel refresher is when you can see that white line going on down the screen. Now that's your full hour-long pixel refresh. And at the very end of that process, you'll see that white line scroll down the screen, and a minute or two after that, the process will be done. So I have seen that white line many times from the manual calibration. So I can be sure that when I'm doing this manual calibration is the full, almost hour-long calibration, whatever it is. And I've seen it a lot. It's one of the ways I know that the pixel refresher is working because after about an hour, if I, hang around the display, I'll see a white line move down it. And then that's a good sign to me, like, hey, my pixel refresher is still working. Because I don't really care what it says up on the indicator. I want to see that white line. I have now run pixel refresher on my 77C10 dozens and dozens of times. Maybe not triple digits yet, but a lot. Now, why did I bring up the uniformity issue? Because, to be fair to anyone out there that thinks, well, this could denigrate your image, maybe the fact that I've been running that pixel refresher has made my uniformity worse. However, the timing is too coincidental. Getting the displays back to pure factory settings, I just think that doesn't have to do with the pixel refresher. But I want to be fair, and I want to say that, hey, if there is a visual cue or a visual sense of my image degrading, it would be because of the uniformity. The C8 didn't suffer from that. the C10 is right now, but again, it's in a very low, excuse me, clear that message. It's in a very low calibrated or uncalibrated state. So yes, the uniformity is not great. Man, I've kind of rambled on more than I wanted to, but the whole pixel refresher thing to me is very interesting. I'm still going to recommend running the manual pixel refresher after, what I would deem a hard day use on the display. I mean, it's an OLED after all. Third OLED panel I have. The C1, obviously, I haven't run pixel refresh on that guy, but like 1 or 2 times. Maybe more than, maybe a handful. But here's my message. I don't believe the manual pixel refresher has ever harmed my image on any 3 of my OLEDs. And the C1 we can pretty much discount because I haven't had enough time to run it. But I'm telling you right now, I've run that manual pixel refresher 1 hour long a bunch of times on my C10, and I think it's fine. So, it's always constructive, I think, to disagree. Or it is sometimes to disagree, and it helps to build conversation, and maybe we can learn a little bit more from it. So, if I am missing something about the pixel refresher, I'm going to lean on my community. Please inform me. I don't want to be ignorant to it. But as of now, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all, based on my experience, keep running that manual pixel refresher. Wait a minute. Okay. This community is now only based on my experiences. I'm not going to really try to give advice. So what I'm going to say very carefully is, I have run my manual pixel refresher lots of times. I know, beating a dead horse. But that's my experience, man. It has not degraded my image at all. And I would love to see the literature from LG themselves that says this is a possibility. All right, yeah, that's it. Not trying to call anybody out, just trying to have a constructive conversation. I'm trying to learn, trying to get smarter. So this is the part where I'm going to ask or just say that if anybody out there in YouTube land has any questions or comments, good, bad, or indifferent, you can stick them right down below because they are greatly encouraged and greatly appreciated. They only help us. They only help the community grow, get smarter, stronger, all that great stuff. And now we can definitely wrap like larger size bow on this one because I repeated myself a lot and we're now almost 13 minutes into this. You know what time it is. As always, thank you for listening. Be good. Be safe. Boom. Damn. Fucking clicker thingy, man. It always like automatically probably stops connecting to the phone after like 10 minutes or so, whatever. Yeah, it's terrible. All right. Well, anyway, as always, thank you for listening. Be good. Be safe. Boom.